There we go. We should be live. Okay, give me 1 second to prep everything, because right now I can't see the chat, and I need to make sure I can so I can interact with you. There we go. Benji Nassen. And load the stream chat. Perfection. Hello, chat. Mr. Chaos. Hello, Matteo. Lars. Contagious. Clap my dog. What a name. Will Zoeller. How are you? The plan for today is simple. I should probably explain it now. Today's plan is riding as long as possible at 200 watts or above. My average watts, I mean. So if I temporarily go to 190 or something, not a big deal. But I need to keep my watts above 200. Because if I don't, well, the stream ends. So that's a pretty big problem. My goal is kind of to do a bit of a long Zwift ride and to force myself to get more volume in on the bike. I thought this was a fun challenge. For context, I think my FTP at the moment is between 240 and 250. I don't know exactly. So I reckon I should be able to do at least 2 hours. I'm hoping 3 hours of 200 watts average. That's what I'd expect to be able to do, but I guess we're about to find out, because that is the whole play today. Simply said, I will start a Zwift ride and I have to ride 200 watts or above. Otherwise, the stream ends. So that's the goal here. DB Cooper in chat says, any predictions how long you hold out? I'm hoping to reach 3 hours. To be honest, I'm hoping to reach more than that, but we can't be here for 8 hours either. That's unrealistic. So I'm guessing anywhere between 2.5 to 4 hours is the realistic time span here. Lars says zone 2, Benji, zone 2. Well, actually, I'm not sure this is zone 2 for me, because if my FTP is indeed between 240 and 250, then it is not zone 2, then it's actually leaning into zone 3, I'm pretty sure, which is not ideal, but let's be honest, if I ride 150 watts for this entire stream, then we're here until midnight. Actually, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure I could last, what is it, 10 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours? Nah, that ain't happening. But just gotta check, camera's on, that camera's on, because my plan is to, after this live stream ends, to also make a YouTube video out of this live stream, because I feel like it's a fun concept, in my opinion. But before we start, I need to do some homework, some admin. At the moment, Zwift, which is what I'll be riding on, and also the hardware I'll be riding on, the Zwift Ride, they've got a Black Friday sale. In the description you can find it, and I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, it's $300 off a Zwift Ride and Kicker Core Smart Trainer on their website until December 1st. So if you're looking to start Zwifting, that is the way to go. Sorry guys, had to get the hashtag ad out of the way before we got started, but I was looking through the routes on Zwift and I was thinking, okay, which route on Zwift really fits this challenge was a real question to me. So I went through them all, and I one day start that is relatively flat, because if I have too many descents, there's gonna be portions where I might stop pedaling or might struggle pedaling because I'll be spinning out or something. It's just happening in my head, this thought process. So I decided to pick shorelines and summits as my map, because the first 25 to 30 kilometers is completely flat. Then a climb starts, which I should be able to do more than 200 on. And then in the descent, I need to make sure I do at least 200 in the descent, which that might be the challenge, actually. But yeah, the goal of this live... Oh, I can't talk. The goal of this live stream is simple. I'm going to be riding at 200 watts or above average as long as possible. And if I go below that, this live stream and our video ends. Okay, time to get started then, shall we? Seems like an aggressive workout to do the day before a Vertislow race. Yeah, that's true. But hey, why not? I'll talk about the last week once we're on the road here, because we should get started, I think. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Click start ride. There we go. Live stream's all looking good. That's perfection. So at the start, I will give myself about 2 to 3 minutes, I think, to get to settle a wattage in average above 200. I'll talk about it in a second, once we're in. There we go. Zwift has loaded. The plan starts with the following. The first 2-3 minutes, I'll try to settle my watts above 200. And after those 2-3 minutes, the challenge will actually start. So anyway, let's jump in. I'll slowly but surely get my watts going. And then we'll actually start focusing on the average watts once I've got a little bit of a 2-minute warm-up in. Bike for Likes in chat says, hope you've got loads of sugar with you for hours of tempo. There's lots on the left here. There's even more behind me, so we should be good. Let's try and up the watts. And try and move towards 200. And once we hit 200 average watts, is when we begin. It is kind of sad that it starts with a downhill, because it's harder to reach 200 watts in a downhill. Wouter in chat asks, why not go erg mode? I don't really feel like doing that, because I want to learn how a certain wattage feels. Does that make sense? I want to be able to write and tell, okay, now I'm doing roughly 200 watts. That kind of vibe. So to be able to do that, to be able to get used to that feeling of knowing what watts I'm doing, I'd rather do it myself, manually. Oh, my heart rate monitor is not connected, so let's connect that first before we get started. There we go. Come on, there we go. We're good now. Okay. Gonna try and get my average watts above 200 and then we'll begin. So in the last week, I actually have not touched my bike too much. Like sure, last Sunday, I did a Zwift race, but since then, I have not been on Zwift at all. And it's because on Tuesday, I did my first ever strength session, which I really want to start doing stuff next to the bike, whether it's lifting, whether it's more other types of cardio, just as variation throughout the year, but also to target different muscle groups. And I gotta say, the strength session, it low-key cooked me a little bit for a few days, especially because my muscles, legs, arms were so done for the 2 days after. Anyway, we're approaching 200 average watts, then the challenge properly begins. Gotta make sure I don't explode myself before we even get to the 200 watts to begin with. I think at the start I'll be a bit scared of going below 200 watts to the point that I might overdo it at the start. For example now, going to 50 to 60, just to make sure I don't risk going down below 200 again. But after that phase of kind of getting used to the watts, I'm hoping to ride like 210 watts steady, you know, without spikes. There we go. 200 watts average. Now the quest begins. We gotta keep ourselves above that for the rest of the ride. Let's do this. These downhills are dangerous because this is where you tend to ride below 200. So I gotta watch out there. But we're confident and we're comfortable on 205 at the moment. By the way, this won't be the most intense live stream in terms of compared to a Zwift race, because obviously during a Zwift race I've got minutes of intense moments where I can't talk to you. I don't expect that to happen today, but I could be wrong. And if that's the case, well, I need to get some questions from you guys throughout to make sure I keep busy and to make sure my mind stays on Zwifting and doesn't think about giving up. CFitSpin chat asks, is it below 200 simultaneously? No, it's below 200 average. So at the moment, we've got 209 average. The goal is to keep that number above 200. Reality is, if I would have chosen just the simultaneous watts, then right now I'd be failing the challenge. And it's not realistic to keep 200 like that for an entire ride. So I'm going with average watts below 200. So basically, I was thinking about doing this challenge and I looked back to my Tour de France climbs on Zwift video, and in that video, I spent 2 hours at 200 watts on the Col du Tourmalet. So I know that 4 or 5 months ago, when my fitness was objectively worse, I could do 2 hours at 200 watts. So I'd like to believe that now I can at least do 2.5, and maybe 3 hours. That's my hope. Owen Hunt in chat asks, been off the bike for way too long and jumping on Zwift later. What is your favorite route on Zwift? I think it depends on the moment. When I started cycling, so 2021, 2022, I wanted an easier route. A route that did not involve much climbing because I was 130 kilos. So then my favorite route was probably Tempest Fugit. Then in 2022, 2023, I got pretty decent at shorter effort, so 1 to 3 minutes. So I really started liking the Richmond parkour with Libby Hill and so forth. But now, I don't know, I kind of really enjoy just accelerate to elevate maybe. I like the grade climb a lot. Noises in chat asks, how much kilo are you now? I'm about 108, 109. I'd like to get under 100. I don't have a specific time frame in which I want to do that. My initial goal was to get that by the end of this year, but I clearly failed to do so because during July, August, September, the period of Tour de France Vuelta, there's so much racing going on with the podcast that my own fitness journey kind of took the side track for a bit, which is not good, I know that, but it's the reality of what happened. Next year I'd like to avoid that, because that really sets me back a little bit when it comes to my fitness. And if I kept training throughout that period, then maybe I might have actually been able to make it work. Fred in chat asks, gonna order myself a Zwift this weekend. What should I do to start off? When you say order a Zwift this weekend, do you mean a Zwift ride, as in the actual bicycle? Do you mean a smart trainer? Do you mean Zwift itself? Regardless, when you start on Zwift, this is maybe a very unpopular opinion, but if your goal is to get better on the bike, honestly, try a couple of rides first and then do maybe a ramp test to see where your level is roughly at. It's not going to be the most accurate test in the world to actually define your FTP, but it will give you a benchmark at the start of your journey. And from my experience, having some kind of benchmark to look back on once you get better is so motivating. And I've had a few of those moments. For example, back in 2022 when I started this, actually 2023, this Zwift journey, my first FTP test was pretty bad. I think I had like 190 watt FTP, which is not good for a guy like me, which is above 100 kgs and so forth. So to now look back and see that I've gotten more than 25-30% better, I feel great in hindsight. And it's not just physically. My confidence has gone up significantly. I feel like I'm happier about the way I look, about the way I feel. I'm more social in doing so. I'd say I'm basically a completely different person compared to 3, 4, 5 years ago. Which is crazy to say, but it's true. And even if you've been following this channel for, let's say, 5 years, you know that back in the day I did not have a face cam on my videos. I was honestly ashamed of the way I looked, etc. That lack of confidence is completely gone. And it's not like I've lost 50 kilos. I've lost 20, which is still a great amount, but I'm just so much more confident. And I think it's partially because I feel like I've got control now. I know that I can do something about it if I spend the time and energy to work on myself. And back then, before I started doing something about it, I was first of all unsure whether I could do anything about it, stuck in this demotivated loop of this will never work, it's not working, that kind of vibe. But also, sorry for opening up a little, I think I was genuinely too ashamed to make it socially known within my family and friends that I wasn't happy about myself. So I was too ashamed to start doing something about it, which is a really fucked up thing. Literally. But I'm happy I did in hindsight. So yeah, that's a bit of a story for you. Anyway, we've got about 210 watts average. I'll try and keep it around that. We are about 10 minutes in. We played around for 3 minutes at the start, so we'll cut those off. The goal is to not spike with my watts, so I gotta make sure I keep my watts as level as possible. Lars, I'm not sure I would completely agree. You say motivation doesn't work, discipline does. I somewhat disagree. It's more that at the start you need the accountability, not necessarily the discipline yet, because you don't have the discipline when you start the journey. When I weighed 130 kilos and wasn't doing any exercise, but I did not have the discipline, and it's because I did not have the motivation. And to be able to have the discipline, you need a combination of motivation, plus accountability, plus some other factors. Because the reality is, if you're a single mother who spends all their time on taking care of the family, etc., good luck finding time to spend on yourself, stuff like that. And that's also a reality that having the time to work out, etc., can be seen as, oh, just make time, bro. While for a lot of people in life, time's a luxury. Does that make any sense? I agree with that, Lars. Your point is the days that you are tired, that it rains, motivation will not make you train. Well, sometimes it does, but it's also important in those moments to have accountability where yourself, you might not be enough to get yourself out there. For example, on a day where I don't feel like riding my bike, my wife tells me, bro, get on the fucking bike. You'll regret it tonight if you don't. And then I am guilt-tripped into riding. That's the reality. So 16 minutes in, I'm feeling pretty okay, but I can tell that I'm not riding in zone 2. I'm riding in zone 3 to zone 4 a little bit sometimes. It's all about trying to keep myself on 209, 210, 215 watts on average. That's the goal. Because if I get too close to 200, then it gets scary, you know? Then I might spike my watts to keep myself safe. We don't want that. We want steady watts. And that is also why I don't want to use erg mode on Zwift, because I want to be able to do steady watts by myself without needing erg mode to assist me. That's kind of the thought process behind it. So, Julian in chat asks, Benji, what are your current goals? So, I think my overarching goal is still the same. Losing weight, getting better on the bike. I always place specific numbers on that in YouTube videos, which I probably should stop doing. But personally, I don't care if I get better 50 watts or 20 watts. I just want to get better over time. And I think that's partially out of wanting to avoid to go back to how I was before. So that is something. But also, I've got minor goals on my calendar. For example, last year, I traveled to Tenerife in December, and I ended up climbing Mount Teide, and I did not make it to the top. Next week, spoilers, I'm traveling to Tenerife. I'm gonna try and make it to the top of Teide. So that's I would say minor goal, because I'm not that invested into actually making it next week. I'm more invested in some other goals for next year. For example, in 2024, I rode the Paris-Roubaix Sportive, the shorter version. I actually want to do the slightly longer version, including Truid-Arenberg in 2026. So that's one goal. I want to do the 145 kilometer, I think, version of Paris-Roubaix Sportive. Another potential sportive I'd like to do is l'Étape du Tour, not the one in France, but the one in Czechia, of all places, in Prague, partially because I do enjoy Prague, but also because it's the only one that fits in the podcast calendar. So that's another potential sportive I'd like to do. And there's a minor goal at the end of the year where, for the people that don't know, I was born in Belgium, but I moved to the UK because my wife is British. And I would like to perhaps take on the Oxford Half Marathon in 1 or 2 years. The problem is, I don't think I can run 5 kilometers at the moment. So we've got some work to do. I'll put my aircon on because it's way too warm in this place. There we go. I've got a fan on, which is the kicker headwind, which kind of adapts according to your heart rate. And it does a good job, but if the room is like 25, 30 degrees, the fan doesn't matter. So let's bring that down to 17 or something. Jeffrey says, you Zwift content creators keep me motivated. I try to. I gotta make sure I keep myself motivated. Bike by Gray in chat asks, are you doing the 4 endurance ride tomorrow? Yes. So the Vertislow 4 Endurance Zwift League is still ongoing. A Zwift racing series of 6 races. We've had the first 3 races. The next one is tomorrow, this Sunday. There's 2 time slots, one at 10 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. I would like to do probably the evening one, especially after today's ride. So that's my goal there. But yeah, it runs for another 3 weeks. I will have to skip the one next week because I'm in Tenerife. But I will join again for the final week. And I can't spoil much, but there may or may not be following another 4 endurance related Zwift League afterwards. By the way, I said it earlier, throughout 2026, I would like to continue doing what I started this week, which is I added a strength session to my week to do something off the bike as well. And I'll be honest, I was sore for 3 days, but I think in the long run, it will help me quite a bit on the bike. Anyway, let's get out of the saddle for a bit. Whoa. Just to shake out the legs a bit. Question in chat, do you still live in the UK? Try a park run. That is the plan. I've been motivated by seeing the videos of Ryan Condon on YouTube, and he does park runs every now and then. I'd like to do my first in 2026. So, just about 24 minutes in. Average watts about 207, which is perfect. We want to keep that above 200, and so far it's working. This flat part should be pretty doable. Just gotta make sure I don't overdo it. And then the climb in about, well, 15 kilometers, that should be doable as well. I'm a little bit scared of the descent that comes afterwards, because there I will have to push to get to 200 watts, which is odd. Maybe it's just in my head. Maybe it's easier than I expect it to be. Might just be upping my gears, you know? Frosty Robot asks, are you on Strava, Benji? Yes, I am. Same name as my YouTube channel, so you should be able to find it quite easily. Benji Nasen. Yeah, Morgoth, the last portion of the climb is to the radio tower on the Epic KOM, and that's really steep. So, gotta make sure I keep some energy left for that. But I kind of expect that climb to take a while, to be honest. It's not a short climb, so 45 minutes, maybe more. I'm gonna plug in my my shocks to get some music going. Because so far I've done without music because they were out of battery. But I think I'll need some to keep me going here. Welcome to the chat, Taylor. What am I doing is his question. So basically, today I'm riding on Zwift, and well, my goal is to stay above 200 watts average as long as possible. And if I go below that, today's 3 mens. So that's the quest. We're about 28 minutes in, feeling okay. My legs are maybe struggling a bit more than I expected, to be honest, but maybe it's because I just didn't have a warm-up. So hopefully in about half an hour, I should feel a lot better. We gotta make sure in these descents though, because I tend to like lower my pressure on the pedals in descents, but we should be fine. The question is, what am I listening to? I'm listening to the soundtrack of Arcane Season 1 and 2. Yes, the League of Legends show on Netflix. True recommendation. Music's great. And the show as well. Sander in chat asks, how high do you put your difficulty setting so the trainer resistance on Zwift? So basically, I think it's still on the default setting on Zwift, but because I use virtual shifting, it arguably doesn't matter too much because I have to push the watts regardless, and I've got near infinite gears. So even if I was on 150% trainer difficulty, then I would still be able to go down in my gears to the point that it wouldn't feel as crazy as outdoor. So for me personally, I struggle outside with climbs because I'm a heavier person. So the more gears I have outside, the better I can mimic my Zwift cadence. Because outdoor, I even struggle to keep 90 cadence on a climb because of gears running out. During a long ride like this one, fueling will be important. So I've got lots of products by 4Endurance on my left side, from bars to juice bars, and actually I'll take one of these, and gels. But I need to make sure I keep myself fueled. I won't lie, I don't have a specific in-depth training plan for this live stream in terms of nutrition, but I'll munch every now and then, every half an hour, 45 minutes, to make sure I don't run out of energy and sugars. Let's get out of the saddle. Oh. I'll focus on the ride for a few minutes and then I'll get back to the questions. I gotta look in a little bit. There we go. Juice bar done. Let's lock in. So, in chat, No Crawls asks, when you go to Tenerife, are you bringing your own bike or are you renting one there? I'm bringing my own bike. I've got my Merida Silex from just the gravel bike I bought last year. This is not an advertisement, I'm not recommending the bike. It's just an average bike. But I'm bringing that with road tires. I just had a bike fit last week on that outdoor bike, which I should also get on the Zwift bike, by the way, because I don't think this fit is correct for me. I think my handlebars are a bit too wide, which can't exactly replace the handlebars on a Zwift ride, but I could potentially flare in the bars. So that's a thought. And also the saddle height needs to be a bit higher, I think. But I am bringing my bike in a bike box to Tenerife. Partially because I'm used to riding that bike, you know. And I've got confidence that the gears will work, the brakes will work in a descent. Which I should also have in like a rental bike, but somehow I don't. Because, in case you don't know, I'm a terrified descender. Owen in chat asks, I don't suppose there's a Benji discount code for a Zwift subscription? Not really. Maybe one day they might do it, but it's not this year, I think. The discounts I have for Zwift at the moment are basically the ones in the description, which is $300 off a Zwift ride until December 1st. After that, it's going to be 10% off. And also $150, I think, off a kicker core. Tom Dork in chat says, hi Benji, I just bought the full Zwift ride setup through a link. I can't wait to ride. Well, thank you. Appreciate the support. And I hope you like riding on Zwift. I personally like it a lot. I've got a very controversial take. I think I endure indoor cycling more than outdoor cycling. Partially because I'm more used to it. And also because it's winter right now. But also in general, I like the gamification of it. Let's get out of the saddle. Clap my dog in chat. Says he's on Zwift. Riding while watching. Good luck, mate. Keep vibing. Keep it up. Every pedal stroke is closer to your next goal. That's for sure. Forza Ferrari in chat says, hi Benji, I started my home training like of day one. Good luck. Keep me updated on your journey, for anyone really. If you have a weight loss or fitness journey, keep me updated in the comments. I like hearing it. My videos might inspire you to ride your bike, but your comments definitely inspire me to ride my bike and keep me accountable in doing so. How hard is the big climb? It is epic KOM plus the climb to the radio tower, so it's pretty hard. But the benefit is, I just need to stay above 200 watts average. So I don't need to start doing 300 watts. I just lower my gears and keep pedaling. Jacob in chat asks, what minimum time do you aim for? Basically, if I'm really honest, before the start, I was hoping 2.5, 3 hours. But I gotta say right now, before this big climb starts, I feel pretty terrible. And you can tell from the fact that my average watts dropped from 210 to 204. Like I'm not on my deathbed. I can keep going for the climb, but I'm not feeling as comfortable as I thought I would. And it's mainly my legs that feel tired. So maybe that strength session from earlier this week has more consequences than I thought it would. But hey, I have no shame of failure, so we'll ride until we can't. There we go. 45 minutes in, 205 average, losing a bit of my margin. I'm not too comfortable. My legs are feeling pretty tired. So yeah, again, that strength session is really hurting me, but I'm not on my deathbed. I'll keep on pushing. Climb is coming. Let's hope we make it to the top. And if we do, we'll keep pushing. Kev Steven in chat asks, what strength work do you incorporate? I'll be honest, I'm not an expert on strength training, so I decided to sign up with a local personal trainer And he did quite a bit of works on my arms and legs specific muscle groups, but I'll be honest, absolutely no clue. I'm trying to learn the basics of it as he explains it while we're doing it, but it's gonna take time. It's also why I decided not to like record my first strength session or something, because while my videos are trial and error, I also don't want them to be idiot try something for the first time, which it would have been. We gotta watch out now because there's a descent coming and I'm scared of going too slow in terms of watts on the descent. So I need to push in the descent to stay above 200 watts. Hello Eldridge, welcome to the chat. There we go. Stayed above 200 for most of that descent, so that's good. But now, the climb is coming. So the climb is about 10 kilometers at 4%, but I think that's a bit fake news. There's portions that are significantly harder, there's portions that are easier. In an ideal world, I can get to 210, 215 watts to try and have a bit of a margin before the descent. Worst case, we gotta pedal 200 watts in the descent. But I'd like the margin, so let's try to build it. By the way, the guy on the right of our screen, Will Zoeller, he's in chat. Thanks for joining, Will. I actually think this climb will be more than 30-40 minutes at my tempo. Sorry for not talking much, but on this climb, I think I'll have to focus on pedaling a bit and making sure that I mentally don't give up, you know? Because that's where the struggle lies. We're slowly building out our margin from 204 to 206 watts average. Let's hope we can get that above 210. CFitsP in chat asks any reason you picked this specific route with a very long descent. I actually chose it on purpose because I wanted to add a bit of strategy to this stream, that it's not just a flat ride, because then it might be too boring. So having the descent forces me to push a little bit on this part to then try to limit my losses on the descent. And I like the idea of that. Oh, come on. Nearly fell over there. Yes, I know my cadence is shit when I do this, but I'm trying to do it to lower the exhaustion of my legs a little. By basically using my weight to push down instead of my muscles. Hey Indy, welcome to the chat. We've passed the 1 hour mark, 207 watts average, but I'm struggling. I'm struggling because, well, it's climbing and it hurts. My legs especially. Come on. Thank you, Indy. I need the motivation. Ah. Sorry for not talking, Chad, but I can't. I appreciate the motivation and the support. Welcome back from the bagel quest, Aldrich. I ate a bagel myself this morning, so I hope they're not PEDs. Thank you, Thornridge, for the support. Fuck, man. Why am I doing this to myself? That's what I keep asking myself. Mentally, not in a good place right now. Ah. Duh. I'm trying to recover a bit. I can't go too slow because it will lower my average, but I have the ability to go lower without going under 200 for a bit. Oh, can't stop pedaling. Some guy in chat just asked me something. I can't talk. Oh, I'm struggling.
I'm not having a good day on the bike, that's for sure. But I gotta keep pushing. Because even the worst days, they matter too. I'm considering skipping the steep radio tower climb, to be honest. Ah. Oh, my legs hurt so much. Keep pedaling. Chad is telling me that I'm not allowed to skip it, so I have to do it. Chad is the boss. Wait, what? Oh, it starts there. Oh, God. Here we go. Come on. This is the steepest kilometer, I think, on Zwift, mate. Yeah, I swear this is the steepest kilometer on Zwift, but we are still at 205 watts average. I'm trying to keep it above 200 average, but I'm struggling. Oh, I've had some pain in my side for the last like 10 minutes, and I'm hoping it stops soon because it is debilitating. This kilometer is fucking endless. Come on. Ah. Come on. Come on. And the saddest, demotivating part is, once I hit the top, a descent comes, but I have to keep pedaling. That's the point of the challenge. Oh. I'm fucking dying. Yeah. Oh, my side hurts so much. Oh. Oh, that was so hard. But I gotta keep pushing. I've got 3 watts margin. We're at 203 watts. After an hour and 46 minutes, I'll try and hold on as long as possible. Oh, I gotta keep pushing. Oh, fuck, man. My side hurts so much. Sorry for not pedaling sometimes, but I'm in actual pain. Because my legs feel fine. Condition-wise, I feel okay, but the pain is really disturbing. I activated that featherweight way too late. Yeah. Thanks for the donation. Lars, I can't talk. Come on. Fuck! I'm in so much pain. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the motivation, Chad. Yeah. Come on. Oh, cramp. Oh. Ah. Ah, come on. Ah. 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 Come on. Thank you, Chad. Ah. Ah. Come on. Ah, cramp. Ah. 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 I'm done for. I'm done for. I'm done for. Ah, fuck. 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 Ah. fuck, man. Oh. Sorry for not talking much, Chad, but I'm done for. I'm so cooked. Oh, I had so many cramps in my right side. From like, I swear the last 15K were torture. And to be honest, I think I underrated how hard this would be. Because I just assumed, okay, I can do 200 watts for an hour. That means I should be able to do at least 2 hour and a half if I focus on it. That's not how that works, because I'm not allowed to stop pedaling for 2 hours. I severely underrated how tired my legs would be after 2 hours of not being allowed to stop pedaling at all. Thank you so much for the motivation, Chad. I will be completely honest. If you were not here, I would have given up before the top of the climb. 100%. I was completely cooked mentally. And that's what it's kind of all about, because physically, I can perhaps do even better than I did today. I definitely did not have my best day on the bike today, but if it wasn't for your chat messages in the last 5 kilometers of the climb, oh, it's only X amount of kilometers to go, it's only a few minutes of climbing left, come on, Benji, that kind of stuff, plus the motivation the last 5 kilometers after the descent to keep me going until 2 hours, until the finish of the route, until 50K. Thank you so much. But yeah, you know what the title is. This Zwift stream ends when I go below 200 watts. And on the right top, I'm at 197, so I'm afraid that is the end of today's live stream. But I do think I want to do this every few months, this kind of challenge. Maybe in 2-3 months I should try and do this again and see how much longer I can do it. I think it's a fun idea. And in the end, if it inspires one of you to also hop on the bike and get shit done when it comes to cycling, then my quest is complete. And also, that's not my only goal. My main goal is also getting better myself, selfishly. But I can feel my voice going away. I didn't expect that at the end of this. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for being here on the stream. Thank you to Will Zeweller for joining me on the ride and being my pacing partner. Otherwise, this would have taken even longer to finish the route. But I'm so cooked. And by the way, tomorrow's a Zwift race. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. European time, I'll be live streaming my Vertuslow Zwift race. I'll be honest, after today, I'm not sure I'll be performing that well, but I really wanted to ride today, and I'm happy that I did it, because I think it's only going to make me better, regardless of how much I suffered. I'm going to finish the ride now, because someone in chat asked, did you get a power PR? I don't think I did. I genuinely did not feel great today. I think on a good day, I can do half an hour better than this. Let's click end ride. I want to see the timeline, because that's where we'll see the little lines, no? Ooh, let's see what map we did. There we go, pretty cool map. Anyway, it's not the most stable one. I do wonder, hypothetically, if I went and selected erg mode at the start, whether it would have been easier or harder. I don't know. Perhaps harder, because it forces you even more to keep pedaling. But I really wanted to do it myself with my own power and try and keep it myself strategy-wise, so I could kind of have a margin before the top of the climb. 1,400 calories. That's good. I'm trying to... but I don't recommend this to everyone. It just works for me. I try to calculate my calories every now and then to try and make sure I actually lose weight, because I was noticing in the last couple of months that I was overeating a little bit in the evening. Like, for example, if I had dinner, I would take like half a plate too much, stuff like that. And if I want to lose weight, I can't do that. So I'm trying to keep myself accountable both on the bike and off the bike that way.
But I'll click OK, but there won't be any records on this one, I'm telling you now. I'm so cooked. So completely cooked. What a ride, man. What a ride. I was expecting to do 2 hours and a half today, if I'm being honest. But I think there's two elements there. Firstly, I underrated how hard it would be to have to pedal every second of the ride. And next to that, I did not have a great day on the bike. A 22-week streak. Wow. Great stuff. Anyway, that's it. That's the end of today's live stream. Thank you very much for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow. Like and subscribe, whatever. Become a channel member if you want to become that. But also, on top of that, this live stream was brought to you by Zwift. If you want to try Zwift yourself, there's a link in the description for a $300 Black Friday discount on a Zwift Ride Plus Kicker Core. Check it out. In doing so, you support the channel. So, thank you. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao, everyone. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it a lot. See you tomorrow.